Those are all. 2, 4. Show. Another. All. Goodies.
I'm addicted to life. How about you? Might as well face it. I'm addicted to life. Might as well face it. Life is my wife, man, and my mother too, and my granddaughters, and all them shenanigans that go with them shaking little things. They got them baking little things going on, just like. Wow, way back when we were singing that song, you know, End of the Whirled as we know it, you know, we actually gave that to REM later, you know, but there was me and Papa Hemingway and Faulkner, you know, the guy that writes about how hard it is to live in the South, and Steinbeck would have been there, but he was kind of condemned to the confines of Salinas, California, and the Spirit Heart would never let him leave there. He called it Adam's curse. I don't know what he meant by that, but he could have been far more poetic about it because he's really direct compared to Faulkner. I mean, remember the grapes of wrath, and you know, now you know how tough it is to live down south, especially if south is Oklahoma, which it's kind of south, you know. We all down there, we all talk with a Okie drawl, you know. I don't know if I can imitate it very well or not, but that's kind of what it is, man. It ain't bad enough you can't understand it like it is down in Georgia and Louisiana and Alabama and Florida and places like that. You know, it takes me 3 days down there to start understanding the lingo, man, I'll tell you. But once I catch on, then I can sound just like them, too, man. Oh, yeah, down y'all, down, yeah, come back now, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just having a little fun with you. I love the southern drawl, especially, you know, falling off a luscious lady's lips. That is so poetically beautiful. I was so in love with all the southern girls, you know, hell. I never fell out of love with them. They're still sweet, man. You know, well, I'm not going to run away and get married anyhow because I know better by now. But I still love them. They're beautiful, man. I mean, I'm going to build a statue to them somewhere, you know, out there in the great beyonder. Well, we're going to build one here in Crestone, Colorado one of these days. You're going to have to be sly and subtle about it. I think I might move it down the road from the kiosk because I don't want to block that beautiful view there. Do you? No. I think, you know, it's too powerful there on that first turn coming into Crestone. I mean, challenge is right there in your face, man. That big mountain of love. It just reminds you that, you know, all the glitters may not be gold, but it's all got love in it, don't you know? So we'll move our little statue on down the road a bit, down there by the creek where there's some trees, and we'll rise her up about treetop tall. I've already commissioned an artist to do it, man, and he's already agreed to. And he's real handy with the welder. He does dragons and fairies and wild horses and buffalo. We got Buffy as our little mascot there coming into the Baca Grande, courtesy of the same artist, man. Let me tell you, this is going to be a rockin' work. You won't believe it, man. I tell you what, we're going to manifest it in the material reality and sneak it in on them when nobody's looking, you know. We'll just get one of our friends to buy the little piece of land so nobody can say shit about it. And, you know, we'll make it kind of portable in some way or another so we can say, oh, we're just parking it there for a little while. See, you can do anything in this reality if you're just mischievous enough to try. You know, just like me and old Papa Hemingway and Faulkner. Steinbeck by long distance commission. We didn't have phones that would do that hardly from Puerto Vallarta back in those days. I think it's about 1948 or 52. Yeah, it was 52. Right after Eisenhower had just been elected and old Huey Dewey was on his way out. Yeah. But we knew the aliens were out and about, and the Venusians had already made an appearance with old Harry there, man. Harry Truman, in case you don't know who that is. He was one-time president of the United States and a personification of an unreality kind of thing, but there he was. And he said hell and damn and mother trucker all the time and really upset the ladies back in those days. They were about to throw their girdles and corsets at him, you know. They were all trussed up, man. Whew, poor girls. I'll tell you what. It was so puritanical back in those days. Shit, we had to go to Puerto Vallarta just to remember that women's boobs could jiggle. You know, because you never saw a wiggle out of a woman in America, let me tell you. It was black and white and crisscross bras, and boy, hold them things in and don't you dare let them wiggle. But little boys still like to watch them and giggle. Yeah, you betcha, man. Well, we was like a bunch of little boys down there in Puerto Vallarta hanging out, you know. But you know, we came up with that intonage, the end of the world as we know it, and we raised our glasses to it and put it in motion. Said, with love, it's the end of the world as we know it. And guess what? I feel fine. How about you? Yes, I feel fine too, said Papa. And Faulkner says, I don't know. I got to go back to Atlanta and check with Mama, okay? Well, at least there weren't no Brits there, man. You know, we could relax, you know. None of the uptighted stuff came our way, man. It was really cool, you know, that day anyway. Sorry, Britain, I love you guys too. You know I do. And we softened that old pickle up quite a bit, ain't we, man? Don't hurt anymore, does it? No, see? You're lightening up over there. I'm really impressed, man. Queen Lizzie is going to appear naked here in public pretty soon, I swear to goodness, just to show everybody her shiny little scales, man, and confirm the rumors. Why not? You know, we love them all, man. We don't care if they got scales on their back. They're beautiful, man. Shit. Especially Queen Lizzie. I mean, you know, got to remember how she looked when she was a kid. Knockout gorgeous, but kind of innocent looking. With those flaming red eyes. That kind of set her off, though. Give her a new mystique, you know, that... You know, but finally she was able to cool the flames down. Now they're just coal black, you know. Oh, goodness, are we getting carried away today in that Coyote way. Here on that Coyote Medicine Show, only on that hazy radio network or what, babies? I mean, aren't you glad you found this side of town and hanging out with me and Faulkner and Papa Hemingway and Steinbeck and all the rest of those famous authors from the long ago that... had so much fun poking fun at. I think Mark Twain was kind of hovering over us there. You know, Samuel Clemens himself was kind of hovering over us, conveying the image of the end of the world in his own poetic, comedic sort of way, man. You talk about a humorist. Oh, my goodness, that guy could see through anything and poke fun at it in a very real way. I love the guy. I mean, I must have read Huck Finn when I was 5 or 6, you know. And God, I fell in love with the author, let alone Huck Finn. I mean, you know, shit. This guy knows what little boys are made of, you know. He knows what life is made out of, too. And he put it all in Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer and with, what was her name, Little Sally or something. I can't even remember. The freckle-faced girl who was so coy all the time. And Injun Joe, what a holy terror he was. I mean, you know, wow, man. And how I know Mark Twain was hanging over us there and conveying the image of the end of the world there back in 52 when nobody else knew what to do. I mean, Ike was standing there talking to aliens, you know, for the first time in his forever. You know, well, they weren't really aliens. No, they're family, all of them. But we'll call them aliens just for the sake of the word, okay? Because everybody gets freaked out about aliens, you know. So we like to talk about them, you know. That way we get everybody upset, you know, and they start to question their reality and, you know, shit like that. Or go into the defensive mode, the denial mode really strongly, you know. And then we can have a lot more fun with them because then we send the aliens to see them. Live and in person. Say, hey, baby, lighten up, man. Don't be afraid. Aliens ain't bad, you know. I mean, we're made out of the same shit you are, baby. Look at us, man. We're kind of hot. Pleiadians think so. I mean, you know, have you ever seen any of those guys lately? Man, I tell you what, they shine, man. They do the human in a very divine way, but it's just a cheap imitation. That's why they're mad at us, you know. But they're here to help us out, you know. They got over their jealous rage and decided, well, you monkey heads can be monkey heads for a while, and it's okay. We'll let it be, you know. Finally, they gave up on it, you know. Stop being the arrogant D-heads they've been before, man. You know what I mean? They just don't, they didn't understand. They don't know. I mean, you know, you got to understand the whole universe is created as a collective, you know, and that's the way most all tribes and races and planetary realities function, is as a collective and conscious presence of as a collective, but there's not much there for the individual in that collective, you know. It's just part of the collective. It's just like, you know, a cog in the wheel, a bolt that holds the wheel on, whatever, you know, but it's there doing whatever it does as its natural function, but it's not necessarily conscious present in that function. It's present as the collective in that function, you see. So it's been a little bit of an unreality because you couldn't feel what you were being. And see, that's what pissed off the Pleiadians. We had all these deep feelings, and all they had was love, and cheap imitation, man. And we had love in motion, and they didn't, and they were pissed, That's why they backed off on us in Atlantean days. And let's see what that kind of love can do now, huh? I mean, it's kind of arrogant, You just have to kind of remember this shit, because you already know. I can't tell anything you ain't already flowed right through, babies, Life is what it be, and it rocks this reality. And, boy, our script writers have been busy, man, and we really done some twists and turns in the plot that would just fry your eyeballs if you could see them, let alone your mind and heart if you could live them, because we have. All of them. See, we're starting to remember shit. I mean, you're getting little flashes and glimmers now of some real ancient and fun history, man, where there were good times here on Earth many a time before this. Far better than anything nowadays. I mean, this is just a drop in the bucket, and thank goodness we're filling the bucket up now and, floating on our way up back into our reality, man. Just flowing right out of the bucket, don't you see? Bucket full of love, flows into the ocean of life, becomes the wave on the shore, and as we say before, runs uphill evermore and creates life everywhere. Wow. And don't you dare ever say you're bored. Not ever. This life is just too rocking, man. Even if you're sitting still, you're going 10,000 billion miles an hour. You understand what I mean? The flow was constantly on the go. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? And you live in it, don't you know? You're a part of it. You are. Not just that part. You're this part too. This one over here. Yeah, this Grandpaw Coyote that talks so well of himself and hangs out with such elegant company as Papa Hemingway and Faulkner and Steinbeck and shit, and Mark Twain too, babies, and Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer as well. And gosh, I wish I could remember her name. I just want to call her Sally, the girl with the pigtails, She was so cool. I remember when I trucked through that little town down there on the river where they commissioned that story to be. Gosh, I can't even remember the name of it now. But, they'd kind of left that town alone there on the river, the big old mighty Mississippi. Was it Hannah? Something like that anyway. Gosh, my memories get foggy when I get a ways away from stuff. Hannibal. That's it. Hannibal, Missouri. There it goes. Now I got it. Shoot ya. The old memory ain't quite as rusty as I thought it was. So there in Hannibal, it still just looks almost like it did in Huck Finn's day, man. Samuel Clemens piloting a steamboat up and down the river and stuff. You can see it all. And it's still there. In fact, they even, they reincarnated the riverboats. But it's still kind of like, it's not a real lively place. At least not when I was there last. I mean, there was an energy there. It was just kind of the same as it was in Huck Finn's day. I don't think it's changed since the 1800s, man, Somehow, just how Steinbeck got stuck in Salinas by Adam's curse. Well, Hannibal got stuck in time by Tom Sawyer's curse, No, it was Injun Joe. That's who did it. Yeah. Well, Papa just corrected me on that one. Okay, got you, Pop. Oh, I got to admit, in the existential reality, the living truth of what we are all the time, and all the grand assistance we give and get. Well, Papa's, he's one of my coaches, but, Samuel Clemens is big time one of my coaches. I love that guy, man. He just rocks, Like I said, I fell in love with Huck Finn the first time I read it, and I was really tiny when I did, It kind of expanded my horizons a bit, gave me a little hope that things would finally work out and I'd get out from under the Mormon God and be able to be, a hippie again. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Be able to live a free life, Boy, that took a lot of repair to get there, let me tell you, man. A lot, You've heard some of the stories, heard some of the tales here on this Coyote Medicine Show on Hazy Radio Network, don't you know? Many times before, but it was a salt in the season and a life just so lovely, man. Now I look at it, boy, but the pressures back then, shit. Well, everybody has them, especially those that seem to be born into privilege. You get stuck with a role when you're born into privilege, you know. And I mean, it's there before you're even inseminated and created as a child, etc. You know what I mean? That role exists before you arrive, and you're just going to have to be it. That's the way the 3D says, anyway. You know, and it's played that way a lot here because you're an innocent child and you don't have quote choice. Except the choice was made before you ever got there. You knew what was going to happen. You know, you saw it all in advance, and you knew the flexibility in it. You knew the horror, the terror. You knew everything. You saw it all. And you were willing to do it just the same. See, every life is pre-lived like that, you know, and that's how old Faulkner and Hemingway and Steinbeck and Twain and I could all know it was the end of the world. We know it back in 1952 when Harry gave up and, you know, Mr. Dwight came in, Ike and Dick came into the White House, man. Ooh. And we've never got rid of the Dicks since then. We had Dick Nixon for ever and ever. One of these days I'm going to find, I think it's George Orwell, or what's that other guy? There's an album made way in the way back when. It's a full, like, 30 minutes or something like that, of this living satire of biblical tales of Tricky Dixon coming back to life. And, yea, though I was dead, now I shall live. Nixon's the one, etc., etc. And now we got Dick Cheney. And oh my goodness, I hear Dick Cheney, you know, who's about the same energy as Dick Nixon, you know, just a sly, evil little dog that's so proud of himself because he thinks he's cunning and getting away with it. Everybody sees through it, everybody, you know. I don't know why we tolerated it, or why we have tolerated it, because we certainly don't no more. You know, we ain't putting up with that shit. You know, now Dick's going to go and make a statue to himself, you know, and hang it up in Washington, D.C. somewhere. I hear this December 3rd is the day that the statue will be unveiled. So me and Hemingway and Faulkner and Twain and company, because I think, well, it was Sheryl Crow's cousin that was our waitress down there, let me tell you, and she's every bit as hot, you know, but Sheryl Crow was there too in some kind of form or format. Maybe she was Audrey Hepburn or somebody hanging out with us down there. We had a few of those hanging there too, you know. No, Marilyn wasn't there, doggone it. I wish she could have been. But, you know, she was off with Elton John doing something else. I don't know what it was. But 52 was a pretty big, busy year for Saints and Angels, you know, because that was a shift, man. You know, Dwight really was kind of innocent, even though he was an army general that slaughtered hundreds of millions of people, you know, for an unworthy cause. But that's a whole nother subject for another day, eh? Of course, good overcame evil back in the old way and, you know, just stomped the hell out of it, whatever that evil was. We didn't even know what it was. We just knew Japanese and Germans had it for a little while, so we had to fight them, right? Wasn't that the recipe? Wow. You wouldn't believe the exaggerated buffoonery throughout the creative reality of that time, you know. Even cartoons were telling you to go kill, well, I won't use the words, but they were being nasty. I mean, you know, the whole frickin' thing. And they didn't have TV back then, so they had the movies. So they did it at the movie house with newsreels and with blatantly propagandized movies and cartoons and short shorts and shit like that. And the people went along with it big time, you know. So we were just coming out of that habit. That's why we figured 52 would be, because the war had been over, what, since 45 or something? So we had a few years on it, you know. So the general could, you know, he'd calmed down enough by then. He probably wasn't going to ventilate and go annihilate nations just because he felt like killing somebody. So we felt pretty safe with him in the White House, even though there wouldn't always be good choices. He was not a lame brain. He was a wise guy. But he knew enough to keep his mouth shut and just grin a lot, you know what I mean? And let his wife run the show, because that's what a good guy does. Don't you know? It's the only way you can preserve your guyhood. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? And Ike knew this one and knew it well. You ought to seen the grin on his face when he was out there in Kansas. Those green rolling hills of eastern Kansas, watching his black cows grow on the green grass that he happened to possess out there. It wasn't too far from Fort Leavenworth. Odd contrast, eh? But he'd sit there on his front porch and watch all them cattle graze, and he'd just have this big old, well, what we used to call a shit-eating grin on your face. That means a very satisfied, I got it made kind of grin thing going on. And babies, the flow began to flow in a really good direction because, really in his heart he was a decent guy. He just didn't know any different than the barbarian habits that we had adopted here. And I think as president he actually began to see through them. Of course, Tricky Dicky didn't. He was part of the whole big scheme to undermine the reality and take everybody away from their heart and never give it back. All the nastiness of the demonic demons and devils we've had to deal with here in this Coyote reality. You just have to remember it's a cartoon, baby. Just like the little story I'm telling you is a cartoon too, but a very lively and real one now because we gave it voice, we gave it heart, we gave it energy, you see. That's what authors do. We create stories and live by living them. And as we live them, sometimes we write down about them too, so others can share in the experience. But see, that's the old archaic way. Nowadays, we don't have to write shit, and we're lazy. All we gotta do is have a sip of coffee, keep the tonsils from drying out, a little toke of Mary Jane to help us along the way, and then we just live it. And as we live it, we realize and understand that all of creation is living it with us. That we're literally a movie star, a rock star of the whole reality. That we have some kind of centered energy here given us by our Mother Earth, who's a centered energy herself, that somehow expands conscious presence into the entire reality once we figure it out and catch on here. You see? It's kind of like the flower or the blossom, and the energy comes from the root and the sun, and they unite in the blossom as one, and the whole plant and everything contributes to it. It all is photosynthesis, don't you know? Light creating life out of light, you see? Getting it just right. And it just blossoms all over everywhere, you see? So the center of it catches on first, and it just explodes outward from there, baby. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a worthy of all the experience we ever lived? If it can truthfully open and be that, well, now you know why we'd go through such hell as World War II and put up with such idiots as we have, making such poor decisions, poor choices, let alone the wise ones that really tried. There were a few good-hearted people in the game back then, and there still are. They just haven't been as visible because they had to be real quiet too, just like old Dwight Eisenhower, only more so. It's the only way you could live in such an evil and corrupt government, and somebody had to be there to counterbalance the energies, and of course they always are. Sorry, Dick Cheney, man, that statue would probably melt before you ever unveil it. But I think Papa Hemingway and I decided, and Mark Twain too, that December 3rd of 2015, that's the end of the world, just before you unveil your statue. Bing, gone. Goodbye. Oh, it was a fun game, though, wasn't it, Dick? See, that's what you get for being our poster child. The guy most evil in this present reality that we can see anyway. We know there's a whole lot more evil behind you than you ever dreamed of being, because you come from Wyoming, you can't be that bad. We know that. That's why you're a poster boy. We think you're salvable, savable. I think we can resurrect your slimy little hide and make something really cool out of it, don't you know? I think our heart's got a whole lot more love for you than you ever dreamed of seeing. And I think you're starting to feel it and receive of it now. I think you're seeing, even despite your despicability, you're one of the most lovable characters in the whole reality. A regular frickin', bouncing baby cherub. Man, little angel with little wings and a golden harp to play on all the time, man. And you just sit there and exude love and golden radiance to the whole of creation. That's the Dick Cheney I see. That's the Dick Cheney this Vibe Tribe brings into be. Because that's what we see. You see how you live it? Man, it's so easy. We had that figured out back in 52, those wise guys and me. I tell you what. Life has just been so good. Hey, we should make a movie about that and call it Casablanca on Crack. Play it again, Sam. Okay, I will. Right here on the Coyote Medicine Show. Only and exclusively, where else but the Hazy Radio Network? Who else would put up with a coyote for this long, man? And let him come on this strong, eh? Aren't you glad we came your way? Want to get it clear? Tune in here. Hazy Radio Network, babies. All the time. HazyRadio.com. We got it on. Yeah. Gee whiz, little technical glitches all over the place this morning, don't you know? But we just go with the flow, don't we, kiddo? Yes, we do, man. Chilly, 25 degrees outside here at the 9,000 feet high in the Rocky Mountain sky. Little smattering of frozen snow anchored right to the earth now, man. I'm telling you, it's stuck down. You ain't kicking that old icy crap around. But, you know, the saving grace, as always, man, right out there in the midst of the valley, and poking down through the clouds of love is a beautiful golden white old ray of sunshine, just warming up that middle valley so the rest of us can have a little warmth too, babies. You know, this old meltdown's going to come around really quick, because we're never frozen in time, are we, kids? We roll with it. We go with it. Whichever way it's going, we're willing, man. That's the difference between us and most of humanity. Or at least has been in the past. It's changing fast. Yes, at last. But God, for the longest time, we were the willing, and that makes us the pioneers, just because we'll go wherever the heart leads us, you know. And babies, here's to that. With one of the most divine and sacred, holy chalice mugs you could ever hold in your hand. Mary Jane Gateway to Paradise, hand imprinted by Grandpa Coyote himself. You betcha, man. I make these things up and I put the imprints on them and I ship them to you personal like, man. Right off of thecoyoteclub.com. It's a gift of love, a high charge of energy, no matter what you pour in it or drink out of it, baby. It's living love in motion. And you should get yourself 1 or 2 or 10 of these and share them with your friends this holiday season. I think I may also come up with a coyote calendar. It'll be a bit racy. Oh, she's famous already, wouldn't you say? We all are, babies, in our own way. Each and every one of us, we feel it, man. We feel the universe applauding for us. That's what brings up our little mischievous kid and makes us so much fun to be around. That's why the likes of Faulkner and Hemingway and Steinbeck, etc. will hang out with you because they love you. You're funny, you're cute. You're beautiful. You're motivated purely by love, innocent love. And God, that makes you entertaining as all get out. That's what makes you the rock star. Don't ever lose that, man. See, that's what happens to them in the old earth reality. After a while, they start to think that it is them and not just some magic, you know. And you know what I mean. They kind of get lost in it, you know. Well, shoot. We've been around that one a few times, ain't we? Ain't lost in nothing now, except maybe springtime in the Rockies here at the beginning of winter, eh? The grand thaws in our heart, man. The sunrise, too. As we come back to life in these easy living sort of ways. Oh, the way only a coyote medicine can be given. Smooth, you know. It's like, wow. It's like Mama says, take this, and you say, can I have 3? You know what I mean? It's just, ooh, it's that good, baby. Take your medicine in the morning with Grandpa. Each and every day. And get yourself a Coyote Club mug on the way. Don't be lazy. TheCoyoteClub.com or TheCoyoteClub.com. It's right there with Coyotes with a K and Clubs with a K. So now we got it underway, okay? Yeah. Hey, babies, we love you anyway. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, or how hot you really are. Wow. I mean, babies, if hot was measured in temperatures, there's no way that a thermometer could keep up with us. This whole vibe tribe is so God blessed hot. Each in their own right. Each in their own way. That's so God blessed beautiful, man. You're setting an example for all of humanity. You know that? You're showing them how it is to live just by being quietly in love with yourself and letting it shine. It's a dream fulfilled. Yeah, that's divine.